And family, welcome. Welcome to our little chat today. My name is Addie, and y'all would have known me. Y'all would know me from In the Kitchen with Annie. But today, I'm going to do something really different because this was on my heart for quite a few weeks to do, and I've been attacked over and over and over, and all kinds of things have been vying for my attention so that I don't do this topic. But the first thing I want to say to you beautiful people is that you are highly favored. You're highly favored by the Lord. And we're just going to have a chat today. And this is a topic that I have firsthand experience about. And I have been seeing what has been happening because it seems though it has been making a comeback. And I own one of these when I was about 14 years old. That's in the 1970s. And I know the devastation and everything that it caused. And I know you probably might be saying to yourself, what is she talking about? Why doesn't she just get to the point? I know everything is so fast-paced. People just want you to get to the point right away. But what I'm talking about is the Ouija board. And I really wanted to discuss this because I am seeing there are too much people out there now that are quote unquote playing with this Ouija board. But it is not a game. It really isn't a game. In the 1960s, it was sold as a game. I grew up in that era, so I know and I understand. I wanted to let y'all know that the dangers of the Ouija board. The dangers of the Ouija board. Ouija boards are nothing to play with. I'm not going to go too much into the history and all that. I would just give you a little précis because we knew it came about in the 1890s, and that was around the time when they had the World War and they had, so much deaths, and there were a lot of loved ones that didn't know what was wrong with their families and all that. So they wanted a way to be able to talk to their loved ones and everything. But I'm going to say something, is that the Bible has told us that the dead knows nothing. And a lot of the times when you see these things coming to you in your dream, or these people coming to you in your dreams, and these people talking to you through the Ouija board or whatever other medium that you use, it might be tarot cards, it might be all kinds of stuff. Just remember, that's not your family. It is not. It is done by a familiar spirit. The familiar spirit. And these spirits are spirits that come down through the generations, and they watch us. They monitor us. Sometimes you could call them the monitoring spirits, because we have to remember that, or what I want to say rather, is that a lot of these things have originated from the Marine Kingdom. I have done quite a few Facebook Lives on spiritual warfare, let's put it that way. We dealt with spiritual house cleaning, and we dealt with the Jezebel spirit, we dealt with the Ahab spirit, we dealt with the marine spirits, we dealt with monitoring spirits, we dealt with a whole host of things. And what I wanted to start doing right now is to spending a little time with my YouTube family. For those of you that might be interested in listening to me and watching what I have to say on these things, because my children always tell me, Mommy, you have something to say, so don't be afraid to say it. Because I've been through quite a bit, and as I always say, I'm still standing, and that's something that you there can do as well. Because we, as children of the Most High, we have our soul to just protect, because the enemy, he is out for our souls. He doesn't care anything about us. They can't dwell in the same house that the Ruach HaKodesh, the Holy Spirit, dwells, but they are out to get our souls. And if this is the way that they can get the souls of the youth, that is what they would do. And we look around us and we see everything that is happening right now, everything that is going on in this world. And we might say to ourselves, oh, why are these things happening? Why is this happening? Why is that happening? And that's because the devil is getting desperate, and they are not ashamed anymore to show you who they are or what they are. And you can see all that is happening in this world. You're not blind. So I wanted to hop on today to really talk to you and to really share my testimony of some things that has happened to me from bringing the Ouija board into my home, or into my mom's home, when I was just a teenager. Because what I did, I saved up my money the best way that I knew how. I saved up my money to be able to buy this board, and I was able to buy it, and I brought it into my home. The Bible tells us not to bring, in Leviticus, not to bring an accursed thing in our homes. And in one of these talks that I'm going to have with you, I'm going to go through the spiritual house cleaning and all of that. And the reason I didn't want to pull from my Facebook Lives anymore is because I don't like the layout of it. So I wanted to do it in more of a YouTube layout. And I hope that this topic, I know you're saying to yourself, get on with it. Why are you talking so much? Get on with it. But I wanted to give a little backstory, a little history. And in the 1890s as well, that board was not called the Ouija board. It was called the Ouija board. And that was for a reason. It was called the Ouija Board. And if you research the history yourself, because what I always tell people to do is to do your own research. And if you research the history yourself, you would see how devastating this board was. But what I want to go into is to let you know how basically it destroyed our life. And that's why I wanted to share this testimony with you, because we cannot be stupid to the devil's devices anymore, because the word says that he roars around like a roaring lion, seeking whom he may devour. So we cannot afford to let him devour us, but we are filled with the Holy Spirit, the Ruach HaKodesh. He lives inside of us. He lives inside of our hearts. So if he lives inside of us, because our body is a temple, and therefore we need to treat it as such. And that's why I always tell y'all about herbs and my herbs and the different things that I do, because I was into herbalism for quite a few years. And I call myself a naturalist. And I try to share the little that I know with you, because I'm still learning. But without any more chit chat, we will get on with it. So let's begin with what we have to say. For those of you that don't know what the Ouija board looks like, which all of you should know what it looks like, this is what the Ouija board looks like. Now, we are going to get started. I hope that what I would have said so far was a blessing to you, and I hope that if you like this content, that you would just share it, and that you would leave me a comment so that I will know that you are interested in more content like this, that this is a great medium to use. I also do some little talks on TikTok, so you can check me out on TikTok as well. So I just want to say thank you for all of those that will come in, that will join me, that will listen to what I have to say and believe that what I am saying is real. And I pray blessings upon all of you, because even though I don't know you, I just feel the love and I feel all of you. So let's get into our topic. Now, it first started when I was about 14 years old, and everybody was into this Ouija board. They were all getting, it seemed like fun, and like it is like the modern day stuff that we will do, like all the different games that are trending at the point in time. And I said, okay, well, I'll save up my money to be able to buy this board, because my mom refused to buy it for me. My mom, before we start too, she had a good job. She was doing pretty good, because we were like a middle class. family. And at that time, I remember she had a maid for us that used to cook for us, brush our clothes, do a whole host of stuff for us. And because when I was younger, we lived out my gran, but then we moved from by my gran, and my mom went out on her own with us, and I decided I wanted to bring this Ouija board into our home. And family, I'm going to tell you, that was the worst mistake that could ever be made. But what I always say, what the enemy meant for evil, the Lord will turn it around and make it into good. And therefore, that's why I can sit here today and share my testimony with all of you that will be thinking of doing the same thing and bringing this board into your home. Let's look at some of the things that happened after I brought this board into my life. First of all, I took it to school. I took it to school for all my friends and everything to play with. And one of the days when we were playing, I was not playing with it at that point in time, but I was watching, and one of the girls that was playing with it, because it's just two people, and there is like a plunger, I think they call it, that you push and it answers the questions, and we always think that that's fun. But they were playing with the board, and then after probably a few minutes of playing with the board, one of the girls just jumped up and started screaming and started like pulling her hair out and getting on like if she was going crazy. And us now, 14-year-olds, we scared, we all kinds of things. A couple of us ran to the office to get the teacher, get the headmistress, because we couldn't figure out, but she was just running around like if she was going crazy and everything. Nobody knew what was happening. And I realized that, I realized it a lot of years later actually, but let me just continue with that story. Anyway, they came and they brought her and they took her away in the ambulance to the hospital. They had to hold her down. It was just terrible. What I see, I can still remember it as though it was yesterday. And that's because I needed to share these testimonies with you. And we never really saw her back at school again. We never really knew exactly what happened to her. Just years later, I heard about this lady that set her children on fire in the bedroom and all of that. And to me, I felt as though that was my same schoolmate, that because I am sure that she probably was never the same, because they probably took her to the psychiatric, or I'm not sure what y'all call it, but the psychiatric hospital, and pump her with a whole set of medication, which is also pharmakia. And if you look up the word and the meaning for pharmakia, that's witchcraft and that's sorcery. So I just wanted to share that section of the testimony with you, but let me just look at some of the things now that happened to me when what or happened in our home. For me, I started to suffer with anxiety. I was a very outgoing person, and I used to dance. I used to do what they call African dancing in my hometown of Barbados, and different kinds of dancing. And so I was somewhat a very, very outgoing person. Then I became very withdrawn. I became very nervous. I became very shy, I am not sure how to explain certain things to you, but my mom, things started happening to her one after the next. She lost her, for whatever reason, she lost her job, and the job that she had, she was working as a private secretary for a man that they said that was coming back to Barbados to overthrow the government of Barbados at that time, and all kinds of stuff. And anybody that was associated with him was therefore ostracized and ridiculed. And so she lost that job, but then she found another job. She was like working as a manager of a hotel, and she was doing pretty good. She was doing pretty good in that job at the time. But for me, I was going through a lot of torment within myself. And I don't want to go too much into certain things, so I'm just going to skip over to let you know some of the things that happened. So then at 16 years old, I got brutally raped by what we considered a friend of the family. And one thing I want to say to any rape victims out there, a lot of the times they are close people, they're friends of the family, they're all these things that does these things to you. So after me getting raped, it turned me into even a more withdrawn person, and things used to just happen in the house because it was like there was a different entity living in that house with us. But before, because I jump ahead of myself, but before I was raped and all of that, there were quite a few things that were happening in the home. And then a stepfather that I had at the time, he said, I don't know if he found out about this Ouija board and what it was all about. If he did, I don't know. But he said he doesn't want this board in the house because by this time, as I said, my mom had lost her job, and subsequent then to that, after losing her job, she lost her car, she lost quite a few of her friends, she started drinking socially and stuff like that at the time. But he said he is going to get rid of this board. And I was upset. I was really upset because I don't know, it was something about the board that made me very attached to it. And I was really upset when I heard him saying that he wants to get rid of this board out of the house. I guess he knew something, me as a 13, 14-year-old, I think it was around 14 though. He knew what devastation this board would cause. So I remember the morning that he decided that he was going to burn this board. I was screaming, I was crying, I was saying, "You can't take that, was my money. That was my money that I bought that board with," and blah, blah, blah. And I'm screaming and I'm going on. And he did the best thing because he started a fire in the back and he threw the board in this fire. And I kid you not, when he threw the board in the fire, I saw like all kinds of colors and shapes, and I just saw some weird things coming from out of the fire. And the only body that could see these things was me, because I had still have it to a certain extent. I had a gift of sight from the time I was young, and I dream things, and a lot of times when I dream things, they come to reality. And I saw so much shapes and so much things coming from in this board, or in this fire, I should say. I heard screams. It was just unbelievable. And I asked, I said, can y'all see that? Can y'all hear that? And nobody else saw anything, or nobody else heard anything, because they always, from the time I was young, they always thought that I was weird. I was just different. After the board was burnt and everything, yes, it was burnt, but I had already brought it into our home, and it obviously attached itself to us in certain ways. And hence, after that is when I became raped. But let's move forward from the rape. I will go into more detail on that rape sometime. But let's move forward. It's about a year later. A year after the rape, I got a serious nervous breakdown. And this nervous breakdown it was very bad. It was very bad. And I could only relate things that was obviously told to me. And sometimes when you are going through these things, everything is like in splotches. You remember, and then you don't remember, you remember, and it is like you are in and out of consciousness. And I do believe that the enemy had me hidden, had me blocked inside in myself. I'm not sure if you understand what I mean. I was like, everything was blocked inside of there. And after I got this nervous breakdown, as I told you, my mom's had gotten another job, and she was working at this hotel. And because of everything that I was going through, she had to have 3 people watch me on a daily basis, because I was as though I was crazy, but she never wanted to put me in the psychiatric hospital, because we know what happens when you go to the psychiatric hospital. You come out sometimes crazier than you were. And for me, in the knowledge that I've gained over the years, and that's why my ministry is more in spiritual warfare, and my church people, they call me Minister Annie, and I choose spiritual warfare, although we know that we serve a risen God and a risen Yahuwah, because He is what gives us the authority to be able to trample on these things. But we still need to know that the enemy, so that we can fight it. And I know sometimes I tend to jump, but I jump as according to what the Holy Spirit is giving me at the time, what I need to say. And after she used to have these, I had, look at me, but I had a strength that was unmeasurable for a person my size, because I was like so strong. And just remember when Yahusha came to the man at the tomb, and how much devils or demons or spirits that he said was inside of him. He said legion, and legion is like over 5,000 soldiers, and he had legion because there are many. That's what gives us strength, the amount of spirits that we have inside of us. And there's nobody that can tell me right now that these spirits weren't brought about from the Ouija board. They were brought about from the Ouija board because at that time, nobody in my house was a believer. Yes, my gran used to go to church, but a lot of the times, those people didn't know how to deal with certain things, so they dealt with them with medication and all that. And I was on tons of medication. I was on every kind of medication for nerves and anxiety and everything that you can think about. But I was locked up. My soul, my spirit was locked up somewhere there inside of me. And a lot of the times it was not me doing things, it was not me speaking, it was not me going through all of what I was going through. Leave me a comment on this, because I would love to hear from you. I would love to hear how you experience the Ouija board and how you go through things. But let's continue with my testimony of my nervous breakdown. Unfortunately, I am going to have to shut this off because otherwise it would just go on for so long, because I have so much more that I want to say. But don't be tricked. Don't be fooled by the enemy. Don't be fooled, because we know that he is a trickster. We know that he comes like an angel of light. So don't be fooled. And that, for me, was a dangerous thing that I did in bringing the Ouija board into my home. Because we went from having so much to having literally nothing. I got up many mornings in my home and there was nothing for us to eat. A lot of the times we just had like the basic things like flour, sugar, salt, the water, stuff like that. But I went to school hungry many mornings because of me bringing that accursed thing in our house, my mom losing her job and losing everything that we ever had. So I just want to let y'all know that this is nothing to play with. Absolutely nothing to play with. Just let me look at some of my notes and see what I have here, because another thing that you dealing with the Ouija board, what happens is that your finances become trapped, and it's like you can never get ahead. And I dealt before with the Marine Kingdom, and the Marine Kingdom, I honestly believe now, in doing all my research and everything, that this was definitely a game that was made and designed in the Marine Kingdom. And this game, or whatever people want to call it, and the dangers of this game, and that we need not to bring this in our house, in our schools, in anywhere, because there are things attached to this. Because we might say, oh yeah, it's only a game. It's only a game. But the originated thing of the game is just like in my days when they had the records and they had the tape decks and all that. I remember at church what they did. That was probably, I was probably in my late 20s at this time. What they did was they did a segment that told us about the music industry. And at that time, it wasn't the type of music that we have now. It was like rock music, and it was well, mostly the rock music and everything. And they did a series at the church for the young people on the music. And they played one of those records backwards. When you listen to rock music, it sounds like, or heavy metal, it sounds like just noise. But when you play it backwards, you would hear what is really being said. And at that time, the rock music used to have a lot of the young people going crazy. It was something else. And I know that we will go on to talk about the music industry another time, but we are on the Ouija board right now. And the Ouija board, yes, it is very destructive, and it destroys your whole life, because I watched how it destroyed our whole life. My mom, because she couldn't handle a lot of what was happening and didn't understand a lot of what was happening, she started to drink. She started to drink very, very bad. Before, it was just socially, but then after that, it got stronger and stronger and stronger. And then when I was 27 years old, my mom died of liver failure. And because she just couldn't handle what was happening to her, and a lot of the information that I have now, I honestly wish that I had it then and I understood it then. But that's why I'm here. I'm here to help those of you that are going down the same line. Because what I always say is, our test becomes our testimony. Our mess becomes our message. And the Most High, have not allowed us to go through these things, to just keep it to ourselves and take it to our graves. He wants us to help people. And if I could only help, I said this, and I heard one of my sisters in Christ said that last night. If I could only help one person, I've done a lot. I've done a lot, because that one person might go on to help millions. So she died when I was 27 years old. She was 46 years old. She was going to be 47 years old in 4 weeks. And she was taken. But one thing that gives me courage and hope, she wrote something for us in her Bible. And I realized that she accepted the Most High, before she died. Because she wrote it. She wrote something to give us that encouragement and to let us know that she was okay. So that helps us to go on. It doesn't stop the pain, because you've lost your mother. And I wish every day, sometimes I had a mom that I can talk to. But I can be a mom to some of you out there that are going through stuff. Just talk to me. Just send me a comment. Just let me know what you are going through, what you need to know. I've been through some stuff. But there's one thing that I want to say before I move off, and that is the gigantic Ouija board that they did in Salem, Massachusetts in I think it was in October 2019. They unveiled this gigantic Ouija board in Salem, Massachusetts. And why Salem? Why there? So I just wanted to share this with you. Let me just share. Actually, it was on October the 12th, 2019, that they unveiled this Ouija board. And it was measuring 6,168 and weighing over 9,000 pounds. 9,000 pounds. And it was called Ouijazilla. And why did they call it Ouijazilla? So, family, I am not going to go too much into much of it, but you can do your own research on this and just type in the largest Ouija board that was unveiled in Salem, Massachusetts. These spirits that I would have picked up from bringing the Ouija board in my home followed me all my life. It followed me. And when I say it followed me, my life was never the same. And later, I will go into more of that. I will go into more of the details of that. But my life was just never the same. And in my 30s, I had to do counseling for years and years and years. I did deliverance. I did deliverance because deliverance is the children's bread. And healing also is the children's bread. And I had to do deliverance. But it took me years. It took me years to find somebody that was able to do that deliverance on me, because what you have to do is that you have to cast out these spirits. And if you do not keep your deliverance by spending time in the Word, spending time, if not reading the Word, listening to the Word, going to church and congregating with like-minded people and keeping that deliverance. The Word says in Matthew that these spirits, they leave you, but they come back and they bring back 7 more worse than themselves. And we don't want that. And then we can go into generational curses. And it comes down through the generations. If you do not cast these spirits out, it comes down through the generation. And I really did not want my children to go through a lot of what I went through So I pray, and I pray constantly. I cover them constantly. I rebuke any spirits that will want to come and will want to plague them, and I cover them. I send a hedge of protection over them. When my two eldest were younger, what I used to do is to play the Bible in their rooms while they were sleeping. But the word says, train up a child in the way it should go, and then when it gets older, it will not depart from it. And I know in my life I made a lot of errors. I made a lot of mistakes, but these mistakes is what made me. And I wouldn't even necessarily call them mistakes, because these trials is what made me who I am today. And I could be able to come before you and talk to you. And as I said, if you have any comments, any questions about anything that I'm saying today, just send me a comment. Just let me know. And make your comments be above board, because I know there are a lot of people that will not agree with me on a lot of things that I might be saying, but it doesn't matter, because at the end of the day, the truth is the truth, and it doesn't matter if you believe it or not. It is the truth. And once again, this is the fifth side of my channel, and you will be getting more of these fifth sides of my channel as the psychiatric hospital. And I was looking at the people through the bars, and I was saying, that could have been me. And one thing the Most High said, he said that a lot of these people, not all, because some people do have different ailments, so I'm not saying all, but he said a lot of these people are here because of demonic oppression, because they are suffering from spirits and spiritual warfare that is plaguing their life. They are plagued with demons, and the only way that the world can handle these things is by giving medication. And I know about the medication because the medication causes you to hallucinate. It caused me to hallucinate. It caused me to see things, hear things. And it is over 25 years or so ago now that I have thrown away all my medication, and I do not touch any kind of medication for psychiatric issues or anything like that, because the word says, who the Son sets free is free indeed. And I know that I am free. And I am free because the Most High says that I'm free. And I have been healed. I still have a long way to go, but I just wanted to share this with you. And for those of you that feel the same way that I do, just know one thing: be obedient and submit and repent to the Most High, because He's the only source. And I know that people say about the universe and the energy and thing. Yes, I said that people have all types of energy. And people say that we have given this energy or this universe a name. And the name that we have given him or her or whatever is God. But this is what I'm going to say to you. Know that this word is written for us. And this is the instructions for us to be able to live. And a lot of us don't believe in this word. But every day I see things. Every day I hear things. I just hope that this made an impact to someone. So we will talk again, and I will go more into detail on the dangers of the Ouija board sometime. But we are going to talk about the accursed things that we put in our homes. So I want to just ask you to just be blessed and highly favored. Be blessed and highly favored. Because we have God, as you call it, Most High, Yahuwah, that is there, and He supplies all of our needs. He supplies all of our needs. So anything that you need, just talk to Him. Talk to Him like you'll be talking to a friend. So I want to thank you. I want to thank you for watching me to the end. I want to thank you for just being there, just being you. And thank you for supporting this channel. And if you want to see more like this, you know what to do. Just press the like button so that the algorithm can pick up more like this. Because I so enjoy bringing it to you. I so enjoy talking to you. I didn't have my tea today because I normally do them in the form of a tea talk. But next time, we'll do them in the form of a tea talk. And we will have our tea together. So, thank you so much. And blessings to you. And have an awesome, awesome time. Until I see you again. Thank you.